What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Monday, June 3rd, 2024, and I have another emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 15:23 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Europe and also from the Middle East. Before I get into that, I just want to give a shout out to Lisa at Watchwoman65. Check her out on YouTube, Watchwoman65. She's been very kind to me and has been shouting me out a lot lately. Check her out. And in one of her recent videos, she mentioned something interesting, that there's going to be some type of a planetary alignment later on today and into tomorrow. 6 planets will be aligning. So that is very, very concerning. Now, also, tonight, the US is going to be testing one of their nuclear missiles, obviously without nuclear warheads, as far as we know. They're going to be testing the Minuteman III ICBM from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. The test window is from 9 p.m. Eastern Time, that's 2100 hours Eastern Time tonight, through 0300 Eastern Time tomorrow morning. Okay, so I might go live to cover that, and then they're going to do another test launch on Wednesday. This is obviously a show of force to Russia. We've also sent several nuclear bombers over the pond to Europe. There's at least 4 B 52s now operating in Europe. They're on a bomber task force mission, and they flew a B 52 into the Suwałki Gap, which is the little piece of land between Kaliningrad and Belarus. Kaliningrad is a Russian province that is sandwiched between Lithuania and Poland. And Putin and Russia have always wanted to make a land bridge to it, just like they made a land bridge to Crimea. And that could be the location where World War III breaks out. And we currently have U.S. nuclear forces on high alert this afternoon. What you're looking at here is a live flight tracker showing 2 Boeing E-6B Mercury nuclear war command and control planes in the air. And also, we have a presidential doomsday plane on its way to Washington, D.C. from the Offutt Air Base, which is home of U.S. Strategic Command. We also have a B 52 nuclear bomber looping over southern Louisiana, and we also have an E 3 Sentry AWACS plane off the coast of Virginia. So let me just zoom in here and show you where all these planes are. So this is one of the E 6 Mercuries. It went out into the Pacific, and it either turned its transponder off so it couldn't be tracked, or it flew outside of reception range of the flight tracker. Here we have another E 6 Mercury flying over Iowa. And here we have the B 52 looping over southern Louisiana. And here we have the Doomsday plane about to land in DC. Now, this Doomsday plane left Warner Robins earlier in Georgia. It flew all the way to Offutt, and then from Offutt, it went to DC, which is very interesting. Now, Warner Robins is one of the bases where they do maintenance on the E4s, the Doomsday planes, and a lot of other critical planes. They get maintenance done at Warner Robins. But what's interesting is it flew directly to Offutt, and then probably about an hour after it landed at Offutt, it went to DC, almost as if it picked up a passenger and went back to DC. And then here we have this AWACS plane flying off the coast of Virginia Beach. This is pretty far off the coast. You can see the continental shelf over here. So this is probably 150 to 200 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach. Now, I have a source who has been updating me on some flight activity here and also submarine activity. This person is a viewer of the channel, and he works on undersea construction projects. He works on offshore oil rigs and also on undersea cable projects, and now he's working on some kind of offshore wind farm project here. He says he's about 60 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach, and he's been seeing a massive amount of American submarines leaving the Norfolk Naval Base and heading out into the Atlantic, passing by his vessel where they're working on this offshore wind farm. And he's been seeing lots of F 16s escorting a lot of these submarines heading out to sea. And now we have this AWACS plane flying off the coast of Virginia Beach. So potentially there could be a Russian sub here or some kind of Russian reconnaissance vessel. Who knows, guys? Okay, there's a lot of things that are kept secret from us. They're not going to tell you everything, okay? If you're one of those people that needs 100% proof of everything in order for it to be reported, then this is not the channel for you, okay? Because if you only report on things that are 100% confirmed, then you're going to be missing a lot of stuff because a lot of things are not 100% confirmed ever. Okay. The military does not have to tell the truth. They're not required to. It doesn't say in the Constitution anywhere that the U.S. military must tell you everything that happens all the time and in a timely manner. Okay. That is not realistic, and it never happens that way. In fact, it's the opposite. The military, most of the time, does not tell you what happens and most likely lies simply because they want to prevent panic, okay? And it's not in their interest to tell you everything that's going on, okay? It's called national security, okay? And operational security, OPSEC. What you're looking at here is the current location of the USS Dwight Eisenhower. This was provided to us by Mensch Osint on Twitter. So the USS Dwight Eisenhower, after being attacked twice by Houthis on Saturday and Friday night, is now 1,100 kilometers north of where it was Saturday and Friday night when it got attacked. Okay, so it got attacked all the way down here south of Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. Then it moved 100 kilometers to Jeddah, which is a port city, made a port call there after it got attacked the second time. And now it's 1,100 kilometers north of where it was Saturday. So that is a huge sign that either it got hit or some kind of damage occurred. I don't know for sure, guys. I'm just reporting to you some information. You can make up your own minds. This update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply has brought back their 25% discount on their 3-month emergency food supply. And to get the discount, you got to use the link preparewithnYprepper.com. And the link is in the description below this video. But this 3-month emergency food supply has a 25-year shelf life. It includes over 2,000 calories per day, breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, and snacks, all contained within 6 rugged water-resistant buckets, and free shipping is included. So use the link preparewithnYprepper.com to get $200 off or 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply. The link is in the description below this video. Free shipping is included. They also have a general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running various discounts. And to get to their general store, you just got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo when you get to preparewithnYprepper.com at the top of the page, and you'll see their general store where they sell all kinds of prepping and survival products, and they're always running discounts here. So use the link preparewithnYprepper.com to get 25% off of the My Patriot Supply 3-month emergency food supply, and the link is in the description below this video. So this is my opinion, and I'm entitled to share it on my channel. I can do whatever I want on my channel. If you don't like it, don't watch. Please don't troll the comments, or my moderators and myself will delete your comments, okay? We have something called the First Amendment in this country, and I'm allowed to say certain things. I'm allowed to have opinions, Okay, this is not shouting fire in a crowded theater. This is my opinion. And here we have the flight path of a Swedish reconnaissance plane that was patrolling the border of Finland and Russia last night. We had a massive amount of reconnaissance over Europe last night. Now, in addition to that, we had two Russian doomsday planes or VIP planes go to Minsk in Belarus. Here we have multiple NATO reconnaissance planes flying over Poland and the Baltic countries, and at the same time, two Russian doomsday planes went to Minsk, okay, in Belarus. We know that Putin visited Belarus like 2 weeks ago. And then just last week, the Russian defense minister met with the Belarusian defense minister, and Belarus announced that they've already placed three provinces in Belarus on wartime emergency status. Okay. And the Russian Air Force was doing joint drills with the Belarusian Air Force. And we also know that a few months ago, Belarus moved an entire infantry brigade to the border of Lithuania. Okay, so something's brewing here, guys. I've never seen this much reconnaissance over Poland and Lithuania in the last 3 years since this war started, or right before the war started, the lead up to the war. This is insane. Here we have an Italian reconnaissance plane patrolling northern and eastern Poland. We have this U.S. Black Hawk flying through the Suwałki Gap. We have a U.S. reconnaissance plane flying around Kaliningrad. We have a German reconnaissance plane flying over Lithuania. We have a French reconnaissance plane flying over the Baltic Sea. And then we have a Swedish reconnaissance plane flying over the Baltic Sea. So this is insane, guys. Half a dozen reconnaissance planes flying over Poland, Lithuania, and the Baltic Sea last night. This is very, very serious. And at the same time, we had two Russian doomsday planes going into Minsk at the same time as all of this reconnaissance. And yesterday I reported on this Eastern Shield program that Poland has started, which is going to create massive, unprecedented fortifications in the eastern part of Poland, along Poland's border with Belarus and Russia and also Ukraine. So it's going to go all the way from Kaliningrad down to the Ukraine border, and it's going to be the equivalent of $2.5 billion worth of fortifications. This is the largest fortification in Polish history, okay? The largest fortification in Polish history, even going back to World War II and World War I. They've never had these kinds of fortifications, so this is very, very serious if they're doing this. And we also had a British Eurofighter Typhoon fighter jet fly all the way up to the Ukrainian border here in Romania. Now, these are nuclear capable fighter jets, okay? The Eurofighter Typhoon are part of NATO's nuclear sharing mission. They can deliver NATO nuclear weapons, the B-61 nuclear gravity bombs, okay? So this could have been a potential exercise to fly into Ukraine and drop nukes on Russian targets. We also have some major breaking news coming in that Germany has officially allowed Ukraine to shoot down Russian aircraft on the territory of Russia with the Patriot missile system they donated to Ukraine. So this is massive news, guys. Okay, Germany officially allowing Ukraine to shoot down Russian aircraft over Russia with the German Patriot missile system they gave to Ukraine. This is huge, okay? And this was announced by the Major General Freydig of the Bundeswehr. According to him, the final decision will be made by the Ukrainian military. And this comes after the UK and France gave Ukraine permission to use their cruise missiles, the Storm Shadow and Scalp missiles, in Russian territory. This would potentially put the Crimean bridge on the chopping block, since Storm Shadows are capable of destroying the bridge, and Ukraine has also destroyed 3 long-range radars used by Russia to keep an eye on the Black Sea and Crimea. Okay, so this is huge news, guys. Germany, the UK, and France allowing Ukraine to use their weapons in Russian territory. Okay, and John Kirby said today that the US and Ukraine are currently having discussions on using American weapons outside of Ukrainian territory and on targets inside of Russian territory. And this comes after Biden secretly gave permission for Ukraine to use American weapons on Russian targets inside of Russian territory that are responsible for attacks on Kharkiv. This was last Thursday. Politico broke this story. They had several sources that reported to them that Biden has allowed Ukraine to use American weapons on Russian territory on a limited basis for targets that are responsible for attacks on Kharkiv, so mostly in the Kharkiv region. And Russia has issued a grave warning to the U.S. over Ukraine missteps. The Russian government has cautioned the United States about potential fatal consequences stemming from what it considers miscalculations in the Ukraine conflict. Moscow's stern warning highlights the escalating tensions and risks of broader confrontation. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Rybakov said on Monday the United States could face fatal consequences if it ignored Moscow's warning not to let Ukraine use weapons provided by Washington to strike targets inside Russia. Okay, so we have multiple high ranking politicians in Russia warning the U.S. not to allow Ukraine to use American weapons on targets inside of Russia. First, we had Putin come out and say that they would respond by striking targets in Europe. And then we had Dmitry Medvedev come out on Friday and post a chilling warning on Telegram stating that this would cause a nuclear war, which he says all the time. Okay, but he warned on Friday that this would cause an escalation, an uncontrollable escalation. And now we have the deputy foreign minister saying that there would be fatal consequences. And Dmitry Medvedev specifically said that the West is miscalculating on this whole situation and that the West miscalculated when they thought Russia would not invade Ukraine. And sure enough, they did. And that now they're miscalculating with Russia using tactical nuclear missiles, which the West believes Russia is just bluffing with, and Medvedev is saying that it's not a bluff. And same thing with Putin. Okay, so this is very serious, guys. I think we're going to see it. I think we're going to see nuclear explosions over Ukraine and potentially explosions over Europe. And the question then becomes, what does the West do about it? What does NATO do about it? Will it escalate into a nuclear war? So get prepared, guys. Make sure you have a nuclear war survival plan. Make sure you have a bug out bag and a bug out plan. Make sure you know what to do if there's a nuclear war. Check out my nuclear war survival videos. Also, get right with God, because we are living in the end times. Doesn't mean that the end is tomorrow or maybe next year. We don't know. But we are living in the end times. It's clear with all this war going on and all this talk of nuclear war. I mean, it's just every day somebody talks about nuclear war. Okay. It's just every day these high level politicians, either in Russia or the US or NATO, constantly talking about nuclear war. Okay. And a Russian political scientist, Konstantin Sivkov, on Russian TV presented the idea of genocide of the Polish people by stating that it would only take 30 to 40 nuclear warheads to destroy the entire Polish country and make the Polish language disappear. Poland could become a small theater of nuclear war. If we allocate 2 nuclear missiles to each city, that's only 30 to 40 missiles. This is just one salvo from an Iskander division. In 10 to 15 minutes, both the state of Poland and the Polish people disappear. Europeans must understand this. So this is absolutely insane, guys. We literally have Russian political scientists on one of the main Russian TV channels presenting the idea of basically annihilating Poland talking about their language disappearing. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, as somebody who is a son of Polish immigrants, this really pisses me off, okay? And, I am obviously going to stand with Poland on this one, all right? And Polish farmers will again start blocking cargo areas along the border of Ukraine and Poland at the Rawa Ruska checkpoint from 10 a.m. starting Tuesday local time in the direction of entry into Ukraine. The Polish side will allow no more than 24 trucks per day and up to 4 cars per hour with humanitarian cargo. Okay, so they're going to restrict the number of trucks going into Ukraine. Very interesting. And the Belarusian Defense Ministry announced that the Belarus Air Force is fully prepared to use tactical nuclear weapons if ordered. And what you're looking at here is a picture of a Russian S-300 or S-400 air defense system in the Belgorod region that was destroyed by Ukrainian strikes overnight last night. Okay, most likely HIMARS, ATACMS probably, the weapons that Biden allowed Ukraine to use against Russia. And now Russia is losing some of their most expensive and most advanced air defense systems. So Putin is not going to be happy about that. And apparently 3 launchers along with other elements of the battery were destroyed. So you can clearly see in this picture some kind of command vehicle that is burning. Here's another picture. You can see this battery. You can see the launcher there. You can see the tube. And there's some kind of vehicle there on fire. So there were more pictures, but I didn't feel like sharing them all. And here's the video clip of the Russian political scientist calling for the destruction of Poland and the genocide of Poland on Russian TV. Listen to this. This is insane.
Берем, например, Польшу, как наиболее такую ближайшую к нам, и наиболее реальный кандидат на оказаться небольшим таким, неограниченным театриком ядерной войны. Там найдется 20 крупных городов? Вряд ли. Даже если посчитать, что на каждый город нужно им выделить по 2 боеголовки, это всего 30-40 боеголовок. Что такое 30 боеголовок? Это всего залп одного дивизиона «Искандеров». 16 пусковых, на каждой по 2. Если они ядерные, 32 штуки. 10-15 минут, и Польша как государство, а поляки как народ исчезают с лица земли вместе со своим языком. Поэтому я вот призываю сейчас еще раз европейским народам крепко задуматься о том, что они вытворяют.
Я абсолютно убежден, что удар по Польше или удар по Прибалтике не вызовет никакой реакции в Соединенных Штатах. Никто рисковать безопасностью Франции, Британии и тем более Соединенных.
So here we have another Russian figure here saying that a strike on Poland and the Baltics will not result in a response by France, Britain, or the U.S.
Штатов не будет. Так что можно спокойно это делать, не оглядываясь.
So this is just absolutely insane, guys. Okay, openly calling for the destruction of another country and their language. Absolutely insane. This is like something out of Nazi Germany. And I personally believe that we're like in the beginning stages of World War III. I believe that we are like at the same stage that Europe was in 1938 and 1939. We don't realize yet what's going on, okay? But when we do realize, it's going to be too late. Just like when Hitler invaded Poland in September of 1939, he shocked the world because nobody thought that Hitler would actually do that. They gave Hitler part of Czechoslovakia because he said there were Germans in Czechoslovakia. So the West said, oh, just give Hitler what he wants. He's not going to do anything if we give him what he wants. And that's basically what we did with Putin under the Obama administration. Putin basically took back Crimea, and he also took the eastern part of Ukraine with no consequence, saying that there were Russians there and they did referendums. and then he invades Ukraine and then shocks the world. Okay, well, many people who follow the news in the region would tell you that that was not a surprise. Okay, so get prepared, guys. Things are really spiraling out of control. And the Lithuanian Economy and Innovation Minister, Aušrinė Armonaitė, signed an agreement with German defense contractor Rheinmetall to build an ammunition plant in Lithuania. And the Financial Times reports that Russia's attempt to finalize a major gas pipeline deal with China has run aground over what Moscow sees as Beijing's unreasonable demands on price and supply levels. So China basically wants cheap gas and a lot of it, and Russia's saying, no, we're not going to do that. And Vice President Harris is going to represent the U.S. at Ukraine's peace summit in Switzerland. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris will attend Ukraine's Global Peace Summit on June 15th and 16th, according to a press briefing released by the White House on June the 3rd, which is today. And Scott Ritter was removed from a plane in the U.S., preventing him from flying to Russia. The U.S. government removed me from the flight and confiscated my passport. This time I am not flying to Russia. The State Department seized my passport. So no, I'm not flying. I'm fine, just annoyed. So that is what he said today on RT Russia Today. So potentially Scott Ritter could get arrested for treason. We'll have to wait and see. And the Israeli army has been raised to a maximum readiness level to go into Lebanon and attack Hezbollah. This comes after a record number of attacks for the month of May on northern Israel by Hezbollah, the most since the war started. And Hezbollah also struck northern Israel today. Egypt has told the U.S. and Israel that it demands Israel vacate the Rafah border crossing. Okay, so over the past few days, Israel took control of the Rafah border crossing. Now Egypt is demanding that Israel leave. And we know that Egypt has violated the Sinai Agreement with Israel, and they've moved heavy weapons and banned weapons into the Sinai Peninsula. So we could see potentially Egypt attack Israel. Egypt could use this whole situation as an excuse to attack Israel. And there were some Israeli airstrikes on Aleppo in Syria today. Apparently, a senior officer of the IRGC was killed in this strike. And the Israeli army announced the death of 4 hostages in Gaza. And the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, said he is ready for a 42-day ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, but ruled out a complete halt to fighting in the region. He said this at a closed session in the Israeli parliament. And South Korea is ready to suspend its 2018 military agreement with North Korea. And this comes after North Korea sent 900 balloons full of trash and feces into South Korea over the past 3 days. And also, North Korea tested 18 tactical nuclear missiles last week. Okay. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell today after weak U.S. manufacturing data raised concern about the strength of the economy. Banks, industrials, and other shares dependent on economic growth led the pullback. So our economy is slowly crashing. And ISIS is threatening to target main European cities tomorrow. And Dr. Fauci was grilled on Capitol Hill today over his gain-of-function research. And Google accidentally collected children's voice data, leaked carpool users' trips and home addresses, and made YouTube recommendations based on deleted watch history, among thousands of other privacy incidents, according to an internal database obtained by 404 Media. One case involved Google Street View storing license plate numbers from photos. The data spanning from 2013 to 2018 revealed how Google often mishandles sensitive user information. And the alert level for a Philippine volcano was raised on Monday after an explosive eruption sent a plume of ash, gas, and rocks 3 miles or 5 kilometers into the sky. Mount Canloan on the central island of Negros erupted for 6 minutes shortly before 7 p.m. GMT time, prompting warnings from nearby residents to wear face masks due to the threat of volcanic gases and falling ash. When it erupted, we heard a thunder-like sound. Ethan Koo, 35 years of age, told AFP from his home in Pula village, about 6 kilometers from the volcano. There was like a fire on the mouth of the volcano, which lasted around 1 to 2 minutes. I didn't see any lava or rocks coming out. An explosive eruption produced a voluminous and incandescent plume that rapidly rose to 5,000 meters above the vent, the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology said, raising the alert level from 1 to 2 on a scale of 0 to 5. It also observed probable short avalanches of volcanic ash, rock, and gases known as pyroclastic density currents on Canloan's slopes. So this is huge news, guys. You know, the Philippines has a lot of powerful volcanoes. In the 90s, there was the Mount Pinatubo eruption, which caused a very cold winter afterwards. Okay, so we have a number of these large volcanoes like Mount Pinatubo or even Mount Tambora, and these large volcanoes could erupt and cause a global ice age or cooling period. So you need to make sure you have some way of heating your home. It's always good to have a wood stove. If you live in an apartment and you can't install a giant iron wood stove, get yourself a backpacking stove for like $200. The ones that I like are made by NICO, KNI-CO, NICO. They're based out of Alaska. They're backpacking stoves. And in an emergency, okay, underscore emergency, not regular use, emergency, you can set up one of these stoves safely in your apartment and run a flue out the window. Just make sure you space the stove away from any flammable materials, including your walls. You want at least 2 to 3 feet of space from your walls and anything flammable, and put some concrete pavers underneath the stove so the heat is not transmitted to the floor. And you could warm your apartment that way, okay? But that's the latest breaking news that I have. And oh, I forgot, I wanted to just show you this U.S. Navy reconnaissance drone that was patrolling the Eastern Mediterranean last night. This is insane. Look at all these loops it was doing near Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Gaza. Absolutely insane. But I will be back later on tonight, either live or with an update. And until later on tonight, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps: prepare, practice, and persevere. Culinary out.